Good morning again. It's nice to see everybody. I'm going to ask Alexis and Rodney both to come up here. We're going to need you at a microphone. So, you know that Behold, beautiful. It's a Gary Floyd song, but it's really about seeing rightly. Have you all ever had a day or a week or a month or a year where you woke up every morning seeing wrongly? I'm having one of those days. I'm seeing wrongly. And as a spiritual leader, the most truthful thing I can do is show up authentically. And the smartest thing I can do is ask for prayer. So I'm going to ask y'all to join me as Alexis and Rodney do a ministry of prayer for me. And I just would like to see rightly, please. Okay. Just a play tag.
Okay. Please start.
I'm going to sit down and take this in, if y'all don't mind.
Yes. Let's take in a deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Center ourselves in this divine presence. This same breath that has been breathed through the ages by sages and saints, princes and paupers, those who are good, those who have not been so good. This same breath is in the air today. And we simply allow ourselves to be rooted in a consciousness that as I breathe in and breathe out, the world is changed through me, through my awareness, through my presence, through my understanding of what is perfect, right, and whole, through my understanding that there is one infinite intelligence in the universe. And it moves in, as, and through all things, knowing exactly what to do and how to do it. It is in this consciousness that I can speak my word for the Reverend Chris Terry. I know that she is seeing rightly today, for the eyes of God is looking out through her. She is that very essence of the divine. And when things don't seem right, she knows that that perfect truth is there. And she remembers. And she knows that all is good, all is perfect, all is God. And it's this consciousness that I pass.
And in this consciousness so beautifully described and affirmed, I know right here and right now that Reverend Chris Terry is one with all that is God in each and every moment, in each and every second of her life. I know every thought that she thinks, every word that she says, every action that she does is done in divine partnership with God. So whether it's seemingly out of balance or seemingly wrong, it is right, it is correct. For in this very moment, everything that is happening is absolutely perfect. And so I know that each moment of Chris Terry's life is happening in the divine power of God, in the divine rightness of God, in the divine holiness of God. And so I just claim and see for Reverend Chris Terry right here and right now that she is seeing with the eyes of God. She is thinking with the brain of God. She is moving her being in divine partnership now, today, in this moment, and always. And so I just see Chris Terry right here and right now just opening up all of her senses, every aspect of her body, mind, and soul to the perfection of God within herself. And as she does this, I know that she knows that she is seeing right. She is thinking right. She is being right. For in God, all things are right. They are all complete. They are all whole. They are all perfect. And so right here and right now, I know for Chris Terry that she is divine right action in expression as the beautiful, unique individual expression of God that she is. And so I know that Chris Terry is filled with divine power, divine love, divine joy, divine wisdom, and that infinite intelligence that knows no other way to be. And so I know this for Chris. I claim it for Chris because it is so. And I am so grateful. And knowing that this is the truth of Chris Terry and the truth of God, I release this prayer. And so it is.
So it is.
Oh, wow. That's something, ain't it? Y'all know you can get you some of that every single Sunday? Mm-hmm. All right, what was I talking about? Nothing. I hadn't started yet. It was, and I think we might should just go roll in the grass. But so the theme for September is service. And what a beautiful act of service it was for Alexis and Rodney to give that gift to me. Thank you so much, y'all. I want to read you a quote by Rabindranath Tagore. Do y'all know who he is? Okay, he actually was the first Eastern person that won the Nobel Prize for Literature. He was a man very, very much ahead of his time. I think he was born in 1861, died in 1941, and his gift was writing, but his gift was also music. And he was a social activist. He really believed that India had gotten bogged down in the trappings of Hinduism and lost Hinduism. So it had lost the essence and had gotten bogged down in the form. And the form, part of that was the caste system. And so he was a man way ahead of his time in that he called for the end of the caste system and a return to the essence of the one that is represented in Hinduism. Anyway, he has this to say about service. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. I'm going completely off script here. But what comes to me as I read that, and it's probably my favorite quote on service. And part of the reason is there's a part in the prayer of St. Francis that talks about self-forgetting. And it's on days like today that I really kind of need to forget myself. Because I sort of started the day with an obsession of self. And I get like that sometimes. I get trapped in my own stuff. And it's only when I reach out to you, could be as simple as holding a door. Could be as simple as asking for prayer. Because, see, my willingness to ask for prayer, that's an act of service too. It's my willingness to get beyond my little obsession of self because as of yet I haven't seemed to be able to transcend it completely. It's in doing that I am restored. Somehow I am restored. And so when Tagore says, I acted, and behold, service was joy, what I'd like to add to that is there's 3 forms of action: thought, word, and deed. Right? We tend to think of the doingness in the world as being what service means. And it does. It does. But there's also how we serve humanity, how we serve life on the planet in thought and in word. And so today I want to focus on the thought and word piece. And then the next 2 weeks we're going to talk about actual service in action. There's a book called The Golden Rule by Karen Armstrong. The book is called 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life. And what she suggests is making a practice. Your first act of service can be to make a practice of the Golden Rule. So everybody knows what the Golden Rule is, right? Tell me. Brilliant. Karen Armstrong, who's I don't know if she's a historian or a theologian, but she is infinitely expert on the world's monotheistic, the Abrahamic traditions. And she points out, as many, many others have, that in every spiritual tradition, there is a version of the Golden Rule. And I'm not going to read you all of these, but I'm going to read you the one from Judaism. And this is from the Talmud. What is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. This is the entire law. All the rest is commentary. What is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. This is the entire law. All the rest is commentary. That's huge. That's huge. Hebrew Scripture is really about the history of a part of humankind learning how to live in community together. It's not about the individual. It's about the collective. What's interesting to me is that the Talmud says that that's the essence of the law. And for us in Science of Mind and Spirit, or in religious science, we know there's a law. It is done unto you as you believe. A corollary of that is, it is done unto you as you do. Right? And that means that every time that I think or speak with arrows, what I find is that they're boomerangs. Dadgummit. You guys know I cut my spiritual teeth in Alcoholics Anonymous, and the sponsors used to say, hey, when you're pointing at somebody, you better look at how many fingers are pointing back at you. So Karen Armstrong suggests that a great way to start living compassionately and serving is to practice the Golden Rule. Not just say, oh, that's a really nice saying, but actually to put it to practice every single day. And she has a couple of suggestions about that, and I'm going to talk to you about 2 of them. The first one, she says, is make a resolution to act once every day in accordance with the positive version of the Golden Rule. Treat others, speak about others, think about others as you would wish to be treated yourself. Second, resolve each day to fulfill the negative version of the Golden Rule. Do not do, think, speak, or act toward others. Do not do to others what you would not like them to do to you. So Karen Armstrong goes on to point out that this is it's a quippy little saying, it's a nice little theory, it's a lovely way to live, and it's a challenging practice. It is challenging to exercise the discipline, the spiritual discipline, to act in accordance with this every single day. So I'd like y'all to just stop and maybe close your eyes and think for a minute. Allow to come to mind the person, the people, the institution, the situation that is the most challenging for you at this time. Is there anybody that needs more time? Okay. So now I'd like you to get in groups of 3. I want to say if you'd rather do this process on your own, you can just sit in contemplation as we go through this. If you'd rather do it with people, find 2 partners. You have 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Everybody ready? Okay. Some of you have done this exercise with me before. Some of you haven't. Okay, you're going to each take turns and you are going to tell your partners about the place that you have the most difficulty practicing. But you can only say one word. And the word is blah. So it goes like this. So let's say I'm going to say, I'm really tired of my boy dog pee-peeing on the floor. What I have to say is blah, 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 blah. All the energy, all the frustration, but only one word, blah. All right. So raise your hand if you're A in your group. Person A, raise your hand. Just anybody. There you go. Okay, so person A, you have 30 seconds to tell your story. Go. Person B, you have 30 seconds. Go. Person C, you have 30 seconds. Tell your story. Go. All right. Y'all, I think that's kind of what we sound like to Spirit when we're bitching about stuff. I mean, I could be wrong. Really? In the scope of eternity, you think this somehow matters? Right. Believe me, I'm talking to myself as much as you. Please don't feel shamed. All right. Now, I'd like you to just take a minute. And what you're looking for within yourself is how you can reframe this, how you can think about it or speak about it differently. And it could be as simple as, I'm not messing with that. I'd like it to be something a little more affirming so that your words and your thoughts can serve. Does anybody need more time? Okay. Person A, you have 1 minute to tell your partners the positive way you can think about this. And you can actually use real words this time. Right? You're not giving them the dirt on what it is. You're simply saying, the next time I think about misogyny, for example, I'm going to just think to myself, not everybody's where I am, or something. You get the gist of it? Okay. Person A, you have 1 minute. Go. So persons B and C, look at person A and repeat after me. I see you. I hear you. And I support your intention with love. Person B, it's your turn. Go. Partners of the people who were just speaking, I see you. I hear you. And I support your intention with love. Person C, you're on. 1 minute. I see you. I hear you. I support your intention with love. Okay, that was like elementary school. Now we're going to do college. So, Grady, you can go ahead and come up here. I'm going to go directly into the prayer. In Christianity, they have that thing about the Great Commandment. And it's love God, love neighbor, love self. And I think it kind of goes in, I don't know. Degree of difficulty is hard to establish. However, I think sometimes we are the hardest on ourselves. Why? Because we're privy to all of our own stuff. Please don't fall, Andrew. And so, okay, you looked at something in your life. That's the frustrating thing for you right now. Now I'd like for you to take a moment, close your eyes if you wish. What are you holding yourself hostage about? What are you on the hook for? What are you shaming yourself, guilting yourself? Now I'd like you to actually say that thing to yourself using the word blah. And now turn that around. Next time you catch yourself treating yourself in a way you would never treat another human being, what could you say instead? How can you affirm yourself? How can you serve yourself with your thoughts and words? Now put your hands over your heart and say to yourself, I see you, I hear you, and I support your intention with love. And so moving into this deep space where we serve the world by lifting ourselves and lifting others. I remember that everything, in the beginning was the Word. And so what I think and say about myself and others shapes the very reality that I hold. What I declare and what I affirm is that as each of us, each day begins again, we remember that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, or the Word was with God. I declare that our collective first act of service is to speak kindly, to love lavishly, and to live fully. And if we do these things, then we are awake and living lives of service and lives of joy, and it is enough. So I thank the good, I thank God for all that is and all that is yet to be. Grateful for this day and this community. And so it is.
Amen. Amen.